Hi, this is Stacia, and I wanted to show a game that I played and share it with you. This was played on chess.com just today. It is February 4th, 2018. I played elcarli96, rated 1469. I was rated 1502 at the time. Yeah, my rating has taken a little bit of a hit on chess.com, but eh, most of my losses were due to time pressure, so I'm not really upset about it. And I think I will get the rating points back fairly quickly. Um, but this is a very interesting game. There were a couple key moments where I would like to quiz you and see if you can find the best continuation. Um, and yes, some very instructive moments as well. So let's go through it. This was a Scandinavian with e4, d5. And I know I always play this, so we're going to breeze through the opening pretty quickly and get to the more interesting part of the game. So queen a5, this is theory. Knight f3, I'm sorry, knight f3, knight f6, bishop c4. Okay, and yeah, one interesting point is queen e2 is the main line here, putting pressure where white plays to put a lot of pressure down the e-file and even sacrifice on e6 in some lines, but my opponent castled. Although this still can lead to that due to rook e1 coming. Bishop f5, and yeah, let's get to the middle game here. Okay, so I suppose where I want to start is right here. So I just mentioned there can be sacrifices. Well, if you're a Scandi player or you play against the Scandinavian, you probably do want to look at these lines. I'm almost scared to share this in my video, honestly, because I don't want my opponents at Parma using this against me. But I'm going to do it anyway because I do find these positions very, very fascinating. All right, so like right here, with the move rook e1, white already has ideas to sack on e6. The reason is the bishop and the rook are both hitting it, and I'm defending it with my f-pawn and my bishop. But yeah, you probably already see that a move like knight h4 or even knight d4 will distract this bishop and remove the defender, essentially. So when I see rook e1, I have to start calculating these sacrifices. And so in this position, I played bishop e7. And yeah, sure enough, I mean, okay, they're going to start with knight h4. No, they'll start with knight d4, because same idea, right? Knight d4 is actually, yeah, I want to comment on this because knight h4 is a typical move that you see in the Scandinavian. And I would drop back here, and a lot of times you get this sort of thing. But knight d4 has the same idea, except it's even stronger. So knight d4 attacks the bishop, same as knight h4, but now the knight is hitting e6 as well. And so this is very strong. And if I try to just move the bishop away now, the computer says bishop takes e6 is the best move. So this is terrifying. You can take, but the knight comes in. This hits my queen. There's pressure from the rook on the bishop. So, all right, queen d7, and now knight takes pawn with check. King d8 is playable. King f7. And as you can see, this is a bit unpleasant for black. The funny thing about this position right here, though, is that the computer says white is slightly better, like a normal opening advantage. So material-wise, black gave up a bishop for 3 pawns. So this is totally playable. And yeah, and honestly, I think I would welcome this in a game. I know that sounds crazy, but it looks fun to me. I think it would be a really cool imbalance to play. But this is something I want to study before I willingly go into these lines. All right, so yeah, I definitely wanted to share that sacrifice. It is a bit terrifying. And for that reason, yeah, I played bishop e7 here. Computer wants to play knight bd7. Now I'm wondering if this same line works. Yeah, if I play bishop g6 here, again, this sacrifice is a problem. So it's better in this line to play knight g4. Very interesting move, with the idea that we're threatening something, and white must defend that, or they should defend that, rather. Yeah, and the computer's calling for knight f3 here, or g3, and says black's actually better after those moves. This does, I mean, I would expect g3, I think. And then I actually have a very interesting move here, queen b6. All right, so I'm hitting the undefended knight. I'm x-raying this pawn capture here. So this looks pretty uncomfortable. White can defend this way. And then we take here. F takes e3. And now bishop g6 after all that. Notice that this sacrifice will no longer work because the rook is blocked by the f-pawn. It's a very interesting line. I think I might actually try to commit that to memory, just because those are some unique ideas. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to run into these sacrifices, so I better know what I'm doing. All right, so back to the game. I thought that was worth spending some time on, though. So rook e1. So like I said, with ideas of maybe sacrificing, but certainly applying pressure. But my opponent, they didn't find knight d4 here. They played knight e4. So this is less precise. I'm less scared of this kind of thing. I need to finish my development, so I played knight bd7. Now they came here, harassing my bishop. I simply moved back. They harassed me again. But I do want to note that this really doesn't bother me, that they're going to double my pawns. I do lose the bishop pair, but that's common for Scandinavian. The idea is that the position remains fairly closed, so the bishop pair doesn't realize its true power in most lines, but you also have to play to keep it closed. So yeah, this is totally fine, and black's equal here so far. All right, so here I castled. This was played, and again, I want to note that white doesn't have to take here immediately. I'm not going anywhere. These squares are all covered. So I actually think it's a bit inaccurate to take right away. They should let me sweat and kind of say to me, like, I'm going to take this whenever I want, and you're going to have to keep thinking about it. But my opponent didn't. He took right away. So that is totally fine, by the way. I just think it's better to hold him hostage a bit. All right, knight e4 is now played. Yeah, I don't know what the point of that is, really. I'm going to get my rook lined up with the queen here. And now he played check. And again, I think this is not necessary. I'm not sure why he's taking here. And I took with the bishop. Idea was I'm hitting this pawn. So I feel like white should defend it. Sometimes I make these threats and I don't really intend to take the pawn, but in this case, yeah, I think I'm going to take it. If bishop here, rook b1, I can retreat, and my b pawn is defended by the queen. So I really am threatening to take in this case. And as they say, you know, a pawn is a pawn. So, okay, he played rook e3, and Yeah, I mean, he wants to go down the H file. And my thinking here is that, you know, with these pawns guarding the squares like this and the bishop guarding here, I don't think playing down the H file is an incredibly strong plan. Certainly it's decent, but it's going to be difficult to use the H file. So, okay, with that in mind, I went ahead and took Rook B1. And now, most precise is to bring the bishop to E5, creating threats down the diagonal. But I fully retreated here, mostly because I wanted to keep an eye on this still. Sure enough, he plays Rook H3 here. And now I play Knight B6. So this is a tempo move on the bishop. My opponent, I guess he really wanted to get me on the H file, though. He played Queen G4. Yeah, I don't know about this. The thing about this move is I can take the bishop now, so I do. And he cannot take with the pawn here because I do have rook takes bishop. So unfortunately, he has to take with the queen. I don't think this is desirable for a white. I think this is a distraction. The queen wants to play down the H file. And I think the way to do that is they'd have to trade my bishop off. So maybe like bishop G5 looking for a trade so that the queen can come here. All right, but this is the way I went in the game. And we're going to approach that moment pretty soon where we have an interesting position. All right, here I played Rook D4. Good move. This is a tempo move on the queen. He comes here. And now the computer calls for Rook A4. I think this is very strong. I didn't play this in the game, but this is definitely worth looking at. So we're hitting the pawn. White can proceed with their plan. And should I take here, they can take here. Now, should I take the A pawn? It's hanging, right? The answer is no, because if you do take Queen H4, and, well, the computer says we're fine after F6, but I'm not sure if I would go for this or not. Yeah, it actually says we're winning now. Oh, yeah, black actually has an awesome move here. So if you want to pause your video for a second, I'll share it. Yeah, Queen B6. The point is that we're threatening checkmate. White's getting back ranked. So he cannot take. So therefore, the best move is like to move the rook away. And now we can take here. And there's really no threat down the H file. It's all covered. So pretty interesting line. So Rook A4 can lead to that. In the game, though, I played B6. A tempo move, and it is fine. I just liked Rook A4 a little bit better. Queen A3 was played. Rook F to D8. So I'm doubling. And, all right, he plays Bishop C3. This is a tempo move on my rook. And now I did find the best move here, Rook H4. So the idea is, yeah, I'm kind of like putting a kibosh on his H-file ideas. He pretty much has to take here, I think. So he does. I took. And now Queen B2. I like this move by him. So creating a threat, he's threatening to win my pawn. And yeah, here is where I would ask you to pause your video and see if you can find the best move for black here. It is a critical move, and I didn't find it during the game, but I do very much like this move. Okay, and the move is actually Rook D5 with a really cool idea in mind. The rook wants to come to B5 and threaten to take this rook with check. And the cool thing about it is, like, let's say white plays G3, which is the best move in this position. we play bishop f6. After takes, we have rook b5 right now. So this hits the queen. Now the queen must maintain defense of the bishop. Or I'm sorry, no, it must not. But here we go. Rook takes b1. So this is actually a good situation for black. We have a better pawn structure in this major piece endgame. But the other thing is, like, let's say they don't find the move g3. Yeah, exactly. So if white carries on with their threat of taking this pawn, now we have rook b5. And this is devastating. The queen has to defend the bishop, but it also has to defend the rook because that's checkmate. So yeah, so this ends up happening. Rook takes, queen takes, and we win a piece. So pretty cool, instructive idea. So yeah, I like to look at moves like this and ask myself, why did I not see this move? Well, the thing about it is that it's not a tempo move this turn. It's a tempo move next turn. So one thing I could do is ask myself, where would be a tempo move with my rook? And maybe I could see that rook d5 threatening this next move is an idea. Because I really do think this is quite pretty. So, okay, I didn't play that though. I played f6 after a lot of thought. I didn't love this move, but it's okay. And my idea is I'm going to put my king on f7 on a light square, and I think I'll be okay, although my bishop's uncomfortable. So I was thinking this might turn out okay for him to go like that. All right, my opponent played queen b3. I like this move again, hitting a weak pawn. So I have to respond to this. Now I play rook d5. And what's funny is I don't even think I saw that I was threatening this. But my opponent probably saw it because he played queen c4. This hits the bishop. So I like the way he's playing, like forcing me to react every move. Bishop g5 is kind of forced here. And now queen g4 was played. So again, hitting this pawn. Now I play king f7. This was my idea. And that is the best move here. And now h4. So he's going to harass my bishop. I thought about playing queen f4 here. Computer says it's the best move. I'm kind of surprised because you would think he could... Oh, I see. He's not threatening to take the bishop because if he does, I win the queen. So, and if he takes the queen, I take with the bishop. So yeah, I do like this move after all. But instead, I decided on bishop h6. And all right, here he plays rook e1. Probably a good move. Again, he's doing a good job just creating threats. All right, and here I play the move e5. Not the best, but it's okay. And he plays d4. Interesting move. And I have to say here that, yeah, here I was under 2 minutes. So, so I'm playing Blitz from this point on. And yeah, I don't tend to find the most precise moves in Blitz. I'm not a very good Blitz player. So like it's saying like f5 is a good move here. All right, I played queen d7. This is okay. Queen takes, rook takes. Here. Yeah, my idea is I'm going to trade the rooks off, and this will fix my pawns if he chooses to take this. So he decided to defend the rook first with his king. It was already defended, so I don't know if that was the most precise. Maybe he didn't want to move his bishop back. So here I played, what did I play? Oh, bishop f4. So I was going to round up the pawn this way. He took, trade, trade, and now my pawns are fixed, so I was kind of pleased with that transaction. Kicks me away. Yeah, notice I don't want to trade here because then my pawns get wrecked again, so I went here. Maybe c7's a little better. All right, but again, I'm blitzing up moves. King e2, I like this. He's bringing his king up in the endgame. Makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I think this is probably a draw. But we're going to reach a critical moment. So hang on a second. I'm going to quiz you again. All right, here I played f5. I think this is good because, well, white has a kingside majority. So if he can play this g4 move, then he'll be threatening this and he'll create a pass pawn. So f5 prevents this move. Otherwise, I'd prefer to move my king up. But yeah, in this situation, maybe my king belongs here on the king side defending because there will be a pass pawn here. All right, so he comes up, king f3. I do move up. Yeah, computer says not necessary, so probably my king belongs here actually. And now he played g4. I was actually happy to see this. This is going to separate his pawns, so I don't think that was a good idea on his part. All right, king f7. Yeah, I'm staying back. I think this is the way to play it. He comes up. Yeah. All right, now I'm going to start pushing this side. Maybe I can make a pass pawn here, although it looks a little bit tricky. It looks like it's going to take a lot of time to do it. Yeah, and now he played h5. I actually thought this was a mistake, but it says this is the best move. Okay, so I took here. He takes king e6, king g5. Yeah, and now a critical moment of the game. So black does have the option to trade bishops here. So my question to you is, can we play bishop e5? And does it win or draw or lose for black? So yeah, I have a rule which I broke here. Now keep in mind I had less than a minute on the clock, but my rule for myself is never offer a trade in the endgame unless you are 100% sure that the result is what you want it to be. So I played this move without completely calculating it. And yeah, this actually loses. This is the losing move. Otherwise, it probably was a draw. I might have even had winning chances. It's hard to say. So after bishop takes and king takes, white has a winning move here. f4 check. And after I go back, because I have to stay in front of this pawn, he now has king g6, and this totally wins. The king's coming here, and the pawn's going to be escorted. So yeah, so this lost the game. So unfortunately, he did move the pawn here, which allowed me here, but it's just not enough. He can basically come here, and now I'm going to try and push my pawns, but yeah, he can just come this way. Yeah, and as you can see, there's nothing I can do here. Yeah, now he has two passers, so I lost. I do want to look at what happens if I don't trade bishops, though. Let's take a look real quick as our last thing. Let me find it. Okay, here we go. So here's the part where I could trade bishops. Instead, I could play like a4 would be a better move. And yeah, bishop d2, b5. f4. And yeah, in this position, I can actually play king d5 because my bishop is guarding the queening square. So that's sort of the point here. And yeah, let's just play it out and see how this might continue. So f5, I could play b4. I think what I want to do is get my pawns in this kind of structure. All right, f6. Yeah, I'm going to have to sack my bishop, though. Here, I can play c5. I would do that. Now let's look at f7. Okay, he's going to force the sacrifice shortly here. Computer wants king e6. Interesting. c4 is also playable, though, so we're going for this. All right, probably the king should come up. King g6. The king needs to come here for the sack to work. Yeah, I can play b3. So let's say b3. A takes b3. E takes b3. Takes. All right. Yeah, what's going on, though? Bishop c1. Okay, so stopping me from pushing my pawn now. King c4. This king's coming here. King c3. Probably he can do this now. So white queens, I have to take, takes, and now I have this. Bishop a3. And what can I really do? So yeah, this is a draw because I can never move my pawn up because he'll sack the bishop. So that's how that would play out. Very interesting. I think that this was an instructive game. So I will review the highlights if you're at all interested. Just very quickly. So it was a mainline Queen A5 Scandinavian. And yeah, so definitely learning that in these Queen E2 lines and Rook E1 with the bishop on C4, the sacrifices on E6 are very real. And it's actually playable in a lot of cases for both sides. So that's definitely something I want to keep in mind. In this particular game, that didn't occur, though. Here, I like that I went for the pawn. I have a history of being too greedy, but this is not one of those cases. This pawn is available, so I am happy that I correctly deduced that that was a good move there. All right, yeah, here this is good, distracting the queen away from the h-file plan. Rook d5. I love these tempo moves. That is something I love about chess, is the tempo moves. They are so interesting. They cause chain reactions of things to happen that sometimes result in tactics. And to me, that's some of the most important and beautiful things about chess. So, okay. Yeah, here I missed the Rook d5, Rook b5 plan. But what an interesting plan, playing against the king and with back rank ideas. Very fascinating. All right, and yeah, my opponent made a lot of tempo moves now. I very much like the way he played here, making me react every move. Okay, and then, yeah, and then I was just in time pressure. So, yeah, in the end, I committed a bad mistake, and I need to learn to do this even in time pressure. I need to learn in the position coming up here. Never, ever offer a trade of pieces in the endgame unless you're absolutely 100% sure that it's drawing, if that's what you're trying to do, or winning. And if it's losing, just do not play it. Keep the bishop on the board. So there you go. I hope that you enjoyed this game. I definitely enjoyed looking at it with you. So have a great day, and I'll catch you later. Bye.